Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. Hi, everyone. We hope everyone's having a wonderful day. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm actually doing well. This week has been a very, very crazy week for me and in this household because everybody's preparing to go back to school. So all the moms that are getting their kids ready, I feel you guys because it's been, I think next year I'm just going to take the whole week off. Like it's that bad.
Yeah.
Because they're not actually going, and the thing is, they're not even in school yet.
I know.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, and then some schools started Monday, some schools started last week.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's starting different times, but, and then I find out today homecoming is early. It's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad that, we get another year with our kids and get to send them to school another year. We're that lucky. So hope everyone has a good year.
Yes.
Everyone out there that has children. But everything has been crazy, but other than that, pretty well.
Yeah. Good.
Caliente, güey.
Hasta la madre.
Es que eso pues no se quita.
Todos los días.
Yeah, todos los días.
Nothing new.
Nothing new. Today I got on the truck and I was like, is the AC on the truck working? Yo pensé que estaba quebrada, güey. Mm-hmm. No estaba quebrada. Mm-hmm. Pero that's how hot it was.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's very hot. So, y luego hace rato salí and I know a lot of our listeners que they wear glasses, they know this problem, and if you live in a humid area. So, cuando salimos, que se te...
They fog up.
They fog
glasses,
up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cada vez que voy a tirar la basura, like in the middle of the day, my glasses are foggy, and then I walk in y se quita.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but other than that, everything's good. Everything good for you?
Yes. Good.
That's good. Well, let's go ahead and I guess where are we going today?
For today's case, we are going to Sunset Beach, California.
Oh, Sunset Beach. That sounds like it's beautiful there.
It is. It is. I've heard.
I've never been, but that sounds beautiful. Mm-hmm. So if you'd like to come with us to Sunset Beach, California, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started. So Sunset Beach is a very small coastal town in Orange County, measuring about 1.5 miles long.
Oh, it's a little bit.
It's tiny.
Okay.
Tiny place, but it's very gorgeous. Just
I can just imagine that
chill.
whole 1.5 miles is gorgeous. Yeah.
So the first fun, random, interesting fact is that its residents have never received mail at their house. Instead, they have to go pick it up at the local post office. That's how
it's set up. Kind of like a P.O. box.
No, it's just small.
Sí, por eso. Pero they go to they go and pick up, like, you know how people pick up their P.O. boxes?
I don't know if it's a P.O. box situation.
No, pero like that. Que ellos van y se lo recogen. Because they get their mail. Not P.O. box stuff.
They just don't get it delivered.
Wow, that's crazy. Imagine, I would never get bills.
You would just never go.
I would just never go. I have ADD. I would start doing something else, and I was like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to go get the mail yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll go mañana.
Yeah, but you make an effort to go if you...
Yeah, pero...
Yeah, it would take a while.
It just would take a while, yeah. Imagine, like...
No, that you wouldn't go, that they would have to get it. You have to get it. They would be like, you know what, let's just take it to her.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't, pero pues no, if they don't bring it, pues no sé. That's crazy. I never heard of that, but that's cool.
Yeah. And then the second fun, random, interesting fact is that it actually has one of the widest stretches of sandy beach in all of Southern California.
Stop.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of want to pull it up. I didn't look up any pictures, but from what
I thought you were going to say, I want to pull up. Me too.
I do want to pull up.
I want to be like, hey, guys.
Or just anywhere,
in California.
Yeah,
me
for
too.
sure.
I love me some California.
Now, today we will be discussing the murder of Robert Haugen.
Okay.
Now, Robert J. Haugen was born on October 18th of 1959 in California. Not much is really known about his upbringing, but what we do know is that he was a very easygoing guy, always had a smile on his face. It's just always people in high school, he was popular.
Yeah. He had all the friends.
Yeah, he was a football player,
Yeah.
Much like a lot of the residents of Sunset Beach, where he lived, he was a serious surfer. Like, it's just like a beach town, you know?
He was probably really ripped and, like he was very, ¿cómo se le llama? Athletic,
Yeah. He was also described as just having, of course, a magnetic personality and was the life of the party.
Everybody now that I'm thinking about athletic, that I said that, everybody that surfs, that you have to use your core big time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, they all have, like, six packs and shit because you, like, imagine, con panza no puedes, güey. Like, imagine yo con panza ahí tratando de, lift myself up. No way. You need to use all the core. all the core muscles, girl. Like, that's crazy.
I don't know. His circle of friends was wide. Despite this, a lot of them were from childhood. Like all of his friends, he carried them on.
But see, because it's so small there, I guess.
He never had a bad thing to say about anyone, and no one had a bad thing to say about him. Again, just a very easygoing guy. Like, he just liked to surf and listen to music. He was just very chill. He wouldn't even lock the door to his apartment.
Yeah.
That
just sounds like something that should not happen.
Yeah. Well, it was the 80s.
Well, it's true. True.
And in Sunset Beach, California.
I mean, that you hear that a lot. A lot of people that grew up in the 70s, 80s in California, they were so free.
Not even California. Not even California. Just like super small towns. Que mucha gente just never locked their doors. Locked their doors.
Or lock, excuse me, yeah.
At the time of today's case, which is in 1988, he was 29 and he worked in construction, but had been on disability due to an accident. I think they said it was like a bicycle accident. Now, on October 24th of the same year of 1988, firefighters were dispatched at around 1 p.m. to an apartment complex on the 16,000 block of 9th Street. Thankfully, they were only a few blocks away and arrived quickly on the scene to see dark billowing smoke coming from the second floor apartment. They immediately got to work on putting out the fire inside of the apartment, and it was then that they realized that there was someone there.
Oh, no.
They discovered the nude body of a male in one of the bedrooms. Half of the body was on the bed, like it was facing up. It was half of the bed, and then the legs were touching the floor, spread apart. A pillow was covering the face. And though the body was partially burned, they could see that he had multiple stab wounds and was partially decapitated.
Holy shit.
Making this arson now a homicide investigation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. When the detectives arrived at the scene, they were quickly to surmise, based on the scene, that the victim had been killed before the fire was set. And the fire was set to cover up the crime.
Oh.
However, whoever killed the victim and set the fire, they didn't realize that by closing the bedroom door, which was closed when they went in, deprived the fire of oxygen, which caused it to pretty much burn itself out.
I've heard we've done a case. I don't remember when, but I've heard that when you close the door, like the fire doesn't spread or something like that.
It doesn't it doesn't have oxygen.
It doesn't. Yeah, something like, I don't remember if it was a case where the family they all died, or it was like a family fire también. And I remember you mentioned que como estaba cerrada la puerta, it didn't like spread I guess the oxygen didn't like make it worse than what it was.
Right. So most of the damage had been contained to the bedroom, leaving the rest of the apartment in pretty good condition to search and collect for evidence. As detectives looked around the apartment, unfortunately, they weren't able to find a murder weapon, which, they obviously could tell by that point that it was a knife. But there were blood drops found in the kitchen. The rest of the apartment didn't appear to be like in disarray, or it looked like somebody had broken in. And it was evident that the victim had been killed in the bedroom. One thing that investigators weren't able to determine was how the killer was able to get into the apartment, since when the firefighters arrived, the front door was locked.
Oh.
And so was the bedroom door.
Huh. So okay. So, ¿cómo le harían?
Did the victim know the killer to let him in?
Maybe.
Also, how did the killer get out?
Yeah. Through the window. But if he got out through the window...
There was a second floor.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
As police began speaking to neighbors, they learned that the apartments tended to have a latch in the ceiling that led to the outside. And sure enough, they found the latch in the victim's closet.
Okay, but somebody needs to have known that. Exactly. Not anybody would just be like, oh, there's a latch in the ceiling. Let me go
I
there.
know, right.
No,
you actually just took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. They're certain that this is how the killer escaped undetected. And it adds credibility to the theory that the victim knew his killer, because not, like you just said, not anyone would just know that information.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah, I knew that there was a latch in here, and I'm just going to go up there.
Y en el closet, about places,
okay.
Yeah.
So let me go lock all the doors, then go up the latch, but set everything on fire.
But then again, they said that he never locked the apartment door.
The apartment door. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then...
then it wasn't just locked así que locked abajo. No, like
all
deadbolts.
Of
like
the
deadbolts.
Yeah. So then, like, imagine if he did kill him, he had to have set the fire and then run up from where he set the room because he thought it was going to burn the whole apartment, but it didn't. And then run up and then go through the latch thing. So that you had to have, I mean, somebody that knew that was there. Al menos de que the guy told him before he died, oh, there's a way for you to get out. Makes no sense, right?
No, it does not. So as the scene continued being processed, a woman showed up at the apartment and stated that que ella también vivía en el apartamento.
Oh, shit. Okay.
She said that her name was Corinne Maldera and lived with Robert Haugen. So when she was interviewed by detectives, she stated that she was his roommate and that she left the apartment that morning at around 8.
Okay.
And that everything was fine.
Was it a 2-bedroom apartment?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Before she left, Robert didn't seem to be acting odd or anything of the sort. And everything also seemed to be okay the night before.
Okay.
Like he wasn't being weird or anything. When Corinne was asked if she knew of anyone who would want to harm Robert, she couldn't come up with an answer. Ella dijo that as far as she knew, Robert didn't have any enemies. And a lot of people said that. The only thing that she could think of was that maybe it had to do with the fact that Robert was known to sell small amounts of weed.
Okay.
Now, in the late 80s...
If it was very small, then there's no reason for you to get killed.
In the late 80s, here's the thing. In the late 80s, Southern California was a major hub for drug cartels who would smuggle massive amounts of cocaine into Los Angeles and its surrounding counties, making it the primary Western hub for international narcotics distribution.
Okay.
So did Robert just happen to sell more than just weed and people didn't know?
Maybe.
Not like with the way Robert had been killed, it was possible that it could have been a cartel.
Yeah, but somebody that's going to be it could be a cartel. I was about to say, but somebody that's going to be, that's kind of very personal for somebody to like cut your head off.
Almost.
Stab
you a whole bunch of times. Put a pillow over your face.
And then try to burn everything. I mean.
Not anybody does that.
Yeah.
Just not anybody.
I mean, if the cartel si te quiere matar feo, I get that. I don't know. I thank God I've never had that problem. Pero what I'm saying is
I would
like.
hope you wouldn't.
Thank you. But what I'm saying is like, they're not going to go to that extent to make sure someone is dead. Like, okay, stabbing, ya te mataron, okay, go. But now you're stabbing, you're cutting your head off, and you're burning
cutting
them up.
a head off, I get.
I get that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. But stabbing and
Yes.
burning?
Yeah.
I mean, everything, it just seems like it's a little more personal than just like that,
Now, the autopsy revealed that Robert, who was formally identified with dental records, had been stabbed 18 times.
Hot dog it.
Almost decapitated. His cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the torso. There was no sexual assault.
Okay.
And one thing that I didn't mention earlier was that the victim, Robert, was found with the speaker placed between his legs. Again, let me paint the scene.
Wait.
He was found, again, facing up, nude.
Yeah.
Stabbed with a pillow over his face, and a speaker, like a speaker de banda, así grandote, placed between his legs, like against his crotch.
Okay, so, my question is now, was the speaker like one of those Bose speakers, like the big ass ones, que están así
the
como
professional,
like the almost 5 feet ones, like they're 3 feet?
No, like this.
Yeah, like 3 feet tall. Like, yeah.
Because it was touching the floor, and his legs were also touching the floor, and the rest of his torso was on the bed.
So they just parked the speaker right there in between his legs. That makes no sense.
Right? That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, was the speaker connected?
No. But, I mean, his death was brutal, like, honestly.
Yeah.
So, again, here they go with the, he sold
drugs.
He sold more than just weed.
Yeah.
So, could he have owed money to a drug organization? And when he didn't pay, they tortured him and murdered him.
And then put a speaker in between his legs.
Investigators began to speak to people in Robert's life, and they learned something interesting from one of his friends.
Okay.
According to Tom Nilva.
Okay, Tom.
3 weeks before Robert was killed, he was at his apartment, and Robert seemed to be packing things up.
Ah, yes, iba.
And so, según que he planned on leaving.
Okay.
Robert told him that he owed some Samoans some money.
Okay.
Apparently, there was a group of Samoans who controlled the drug trade in and around Sunset Beach. Now, if you recall at this time, Robert was on disability, so he wasn't working. Investigators thought that maybe he got like a little bit way over his head with the Samoans. And when they asked him for his money back, les puedo pagar. He didn't have it.
Yeah.
They killed him.
They killed him, yeah.
Investigators began to look deeply into this lead, and they found that there was no Samoan gang
Oh,
or any other gang
yeah.
that had any reason to want to kill Robert or be involved in his murder.
Okay.
They also learned that Robert's dealing of drugs was too minimal to warrant him being killed. He was pretty much selling drugs just to pay for his own supply.
Just be okay.
So it was just like...
It was just like a dime or 25 cents or something.
Oh, damn. I don't know. You know about that?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were in the know. Mm-hmm. Who are your friends?
Who are my friends? I don't have any. I just lost them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't a gang or cartel, who had motive to kill Robert? A client, maybe? Detectives began to go down this avenue hoping that it would lead them somewhere. They learned that Robert had a good amount of regular clients, one of them being Paul Smith.
Okay, Paul Smith.
Very generic name.
I was about to say very generic.
Very like, he might as well have been John Smith.
Yeah, just might as well.
So Paul was a 28-year-old computer tech guy who lived nearby.
And a computer tech. Ya valimos madre.
And according to neighbors, every couple of weeks he was over at Robert's. He would get like small bags of weed from him, but no one saw him near the apartment on the day that Robert was killed. So to investigators, it wasn't likely that Paul was involved because not only was he a regular, but he was also a longtime friend.
Yeah, like
Robert.
There was no reason for him to kill him.
There was no motive. Yeah,
there was no motive.
He and Robert had gone to high school together.
Not only that, but I mean, if it was over drugs, then he would have killed him a long time ago. Like if it was a long time,
Well, they have been friends since high school. And like I said, they went to high school together and the two made a point to maintain that friendship since then, And they were in their late 20s, about to be 30 by now. So the theory that it was a client went out the window when detectives learned that most of his drug sales were to people that he was friends with and already knew. So like you were saying. So the next possible suspect was the person who lived with Robert, his roommate, Corinne Maldera.
Yeah.
Through speaking with Robert's friends, detectives learned that she and Robert were close. They had known each other since the 7th grade and had like a brother-sister type of relationship and had barely been living together for a year.
So whenever you mentioned that somebody said that Robert was saying he was moving out, did he say that to her? Or did she say that? Or did someone else, another friend?
No, Tom.
Oh, okay.
So Corinne also confirmed to investigators that her relationship with Robert was strictly platonic, but that didn't stop investigators from wondering if there had ever possibly been more, Based on the way that Robert had been killed, like you said, he was posed and it seemed personal. Mm-hmm. And while he hadn't been sexually assaulted, investigators believe that there was still a sexual aspect to the murder.
The way that they left him was kind of...
Why was he naked?
Yeah.
So what if Corinne's and Robert's relationship at one point did turn sexual and they didn't tell anybody? No, it was just kept it between themselves. Technically it was nobody's business until one of them turned up dead. They had a fallout of some sort and Corinne, killed him. The issue with this theory was that not only did Corinne deny any involvement, but she also provided an alibi for her whereabouts at the time of the murder. She was at her job, remember? She said that she had left her work at the grocery store. But could she have killed Robert before she went to work?
Maybe.
And set the fire on some sort of timer or something. Now, it was confirmed during the autopsy that Robert was killed before the fire. There was no soot found in his lungs or around his mouth or nose. However, arson investigators concluded that the fire to the apartment wasn't preset and that no accelerant was used, making Corinne's alibi solid. The fire would actually have been started by a match or a lighter.
Oh, okay.
And they just...
It had to be standing there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just literally lit the bed on fire. Besides her alibi, it was also taken into consideration their difference in build. Corinne was small compared to Robert, and she wouldn't have had the strength to give Robert the hilt-deep stabs that he received. And then it was about 18 of them. Also, people that knew Corinne... Her possible involvement was incomprehensible. She was known as a great person who they described as like nonviolent.
Okay.
While Corinne was technically now cleared as a suspect, to investigators, she could have possibly still been involved, just in a different way. So back to the what if Robert and Corinne's relationship turned into more. That could have posed an issue for Corinne's boyfriend, Skylar Slatton.
Okay, Skylar Slatton.
Robert's murder appeared personal and it was overkill. Could it have been due to a jealous lover?
And his name is Skylar Slatton.
Skylar, SS. So Skylar was over at the apartment often, and he would have seen Robert and Corinne's closeness firsthand, and he would have known of the hatch in the closet.
Yeah, of course. Because he probably knew that she had a hatch in her closet.
Yeah. He also knew when Corinne would be at work, that leaving Robert by himself.
True.
And Robert would have let him into the apartment. Mm-hmm. So in speaking to people close to Robert, investigators learned that it seemed that Robert and Skylar may have argued at some point close to the murder.
Oh, wow.
Not only that, but Corinne was informed of the fire in her apartment, not from the police, but from Skylar, her boyfriend.
What? Okay.
How did he know?
Yeah.
Was it because he made the escape through the hatch in the closet and was outside seeing the apartment go up in flames?
Maybe.
You know, Skylar was known to be a jealous boyfriend, and on top of that, he didn't like Robert. Having learned this, investigators quickly brought him in for an interview.
My deal is like, if you're a jealous boyfriend, then why are you dating someone with a male roommate?
It's not even that. If she's telling you that there's nothing there,
like,
trust your partner, you know?
Like, what the?
Has she ever given you a reason not to trust her?
Hate that shit.
Yeah.
Like, that pisses me off. It's like, okay, so why are you with someone just to make your life miserable? Hers and this other guy. Mm-hmm. You know, it's stupid.
When they're just friends.
Yeah. Males and females can't be friends.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Having learned this, investigators quickly brought him in for an interview. According to Skylar, there were no issues between them. Despite what the other people had told investigators. When asked about his whereabouts at the time of the murder, he said that he was at work.
I was going to say he was watching the apartment burn down.
Which was later corroborated by his employer with time cards and co-workers who had seen him. So he was eliminated as a suspect. Detectives then tried to work the case through a different angle. At the crime scene, there was a lot of blood. You know, it was on the walls, it was on the carpet, the ceiling, in the kitchen, all over the place. Robert was stabbed 18 times, as I previously mentioned. And as it happens, you know, what if in the stabbing, the killer managed to also injure himself?
Yeah.
There have been droplets of blood found in the kitchen. So they were sent out for testing, and the results came back showing that it belonged not to Robert. So it must have been the killer's. But since DNA testing was in its infancy at the time, they weren't able to link it to anybody specifically. Yet. Because it's a coming.
It's coming.
It's the science.
Es el science.
The science is going to get you.
Because you believe in the science.
I do believe in the science. Investigators turned their attention to Robert's most recent girlfriend, 25-year-old Daria Novan.
Daria!
Novan.
You remember Daria?
Yeah,
the show.
I do. Yes. The two dated for about 6 months before they recently called it quits. Investigators learned that the breakup was amicable and that there was no bad blood between the two. Now, Daria also didn't have any bitter feelings towards Robert, which could have possibly been a motive for the murder. But much like in Corinne's case, while Daria had no motive to kill Robert, the same couldn't be said for her ex-fiancé, Jerry Latkin.
Okay, now we're talking about Jerry over here.
So Daria and Jerry had been previously engaged for 2 years.
Holy shit.
And I don't know how long they were together before he proposed, but eventually Daria's feelings for Jerry fizzled.
Okay.
She broke off.
Things happen.
She was 25.
She's a baby.
She's a baby.
Yeah.
She broke off the engagement and began to date Robert very soon after.
Well.
So to, let's say, a jilted ex-lover like Jerry, her new relationship could have appeared as the reason why she broke off the engagement in the first place. Mm-hmm. So when investigators brought in Daria for an interview, she stated that she never cheated on Jerry, especially not with Robert, and that Jerry didn't have any issues with her new relationship. Detectives try to confirm Daria's statements, and they find a witness that's willing to testify to the opposite, painting Jerry in a completely different light.
Okay.
So according to this witness, again, that's not making itself known, Jerry was extremely jealous and had made a comment specifically stating that Robert deserved to die.
Wow. Unnecessary for you to say that, sir.
When digging into Jerry, investigators learned that he was a baker at a local grocery store close to Robert's apartment. Mm-hmm. Well, the town is so small, I'm sure everybody lived close to Robert.
Close to Robert's apartment. Yeah.
His neighbor said about Jerry that he was just quiet and just kept to himself. And he didn't have a criminal record or anything of the sort. Regardless of all of that, he was still brought in for an interview. So when asked how he knew Robert, he stated that he only met him once.
Liza.
He didn't know him at all and that he had no ill will feelings towards him and his relationship with Daria. Again, this was contrary to what this witness had said, stated that it was completely the opposite. When the comment that Robert deserved to die was brought to his attention, they're like, hey, we heard that you said this. He said that it was something that was said in the heat of the moment and that he didn't actually mean anything by it.
Yeah, because sometimes you say shit.
Yeah.
You do. I'm sorry. I be trying to tell, like, I don't want all the roaches to die, but just like most of the roaches to die. And you just be like, I wish you would all die.
Well, when you were little and you told to your parents, I hate you. And then you were like, close the door.
Not me, because I didn't have that luxury. But I'm pretty sure, like, people say that. You just say things like that.
Te odio.
Te odio. Maldito.
Yeah.
But I don't think he really
meant it.
You don't really want him to die. But, or there's some people that do,
No, I mean, obviously, because people kill their people.
Yeah.
But as far as his whereabouts at the time of the murder, he stated that he was at work. Everybody's at work. I mean, it was 1 in the afternoon.
They were working. People were in their jobs.
It was 1 in the afternoon, Barbie.
They were working.
It was a Tuesday, I think.
Bitch, working. Everybody working.
But at this point, Jerry began to catch on that he was a suspect, right? They were asking me all these questions. He was like, oh, fuck.
Fuck, let me ask for a lawyer.
No, he said, I can take a polygraph test.
Well, yeah, because back in the day, polygraph test was the shit.
Yeah. But before it was, it could be administered, his alibi was corroborated by his employer. Mm-hmm. So, and at that point, there was no need for a polygraph test. So it was canceled, and then Jerry was eliminated as a suspect.
I wish I would just do polygraph tests on people just to see if they were you at work? Polygraph test.
Me?
No, I'm just saying.
I would say that I was at work, but I would be nervous that I'm even taking a polygraph test that might I
would shit myself.
The thing would be like, malfunction.
I would definitely shit myself.
I feel like mine would at least come back inconclusive because I'm so nervous.
Yeah, pretty much. And I would shit myself.
Ponte pañal.
Pues que sí.
Detectives are now back at square one. And unfortunately, the next few months didn't yield any
I'm so tired of
strong
this.
leads either.
I hate it whenever people go like cold cases.
Sometimes.
Because you only have the first 48. That's what the first 48 says.
It's just I always think that somebody obviously knows something.
Yes.
Like, how do you guys figure it out? Like, how do
Sorry, officers. I know you guys work really hard.
And investigators.
And detectives, investigators, officers, SWAT team, everybody. SWAT, everybody. We're sorry about this. I just feel like in my mind, because I'm out of there, I'm not really working as much as you guys are, and there's jurisdictions and all this shit. To me, it's like, there has to be somebody say something, but obviously it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But sorry, but I'm just saying.
It would be more than a year before a promising lead presented itself, and it came in the form of an anonymous call.
But see, that's the thing. Why the fuck? So then you're just sitting there in the middle of the day and you're like, you know what? I'm going to call these people from a year ago and remind them that I know something about this case.
But I wonder...
Where were you a year ago?
No, but maybe they just learned this information. It just happened to be a year later.
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes
or maybe sometimes I'm like, your conscience, nomás ya no te deja, and you're like, fuck, now I got to say something because I'm going to shit my pants every day until I say something and get this off of my shoulders.
First of all, I could not be a year with something like information that's going to help solve a case. I could not. First of all, that's me personally.
Yeah.
But other people, maybe yes, but you're right. But what I'm saying is like, just say what you need to say.
You know.
Yeah. So people can, close the case.
Say what you need to say.
No, ma'am.
Isn't that a song?
No, ma'am.
Yes, it is.
No.
Mm-hmm. So the call came into the Orange County Sheriff's Department from a man who called himself, quote unquote, John. Revolutionary, I know.
Revolutionary.
It could have been like, I want to be John Doe.
No.
According to this John, he knew for sure who the person that killed Robert was and the motive behind it.
Okay, sir. Well, speak up.
Que he had it on good authority, él dijo, pues.
A good authority.
Yeah.
Órale.
And he was willing to give the name of the killer as long as he could remain anonymous since he was fearful of retaliation.
Okay.
Le dijeron que sí. The name he gave was Lacio Montero. Lacio Montero.
Like your hair is lacio.
I don't know. I don't know how you spell Lacio in Spanish.
Or you have lice.
Lacio?
I don't know.
No.
You have a lot of lacios in your hair.
When sheriffs hear the name, they recognized.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So Lacio was one of Robert's friend who he supplied weed to. I'm telling you, he was selling weed to mostly his friends, it seemed like. By the time this call came in, Lacio had been interviewed and cleared by his alibi.
Okay.
A year prior. right? Because this call came in a weird
strange.
later.
Yeah.
So they fully believed that he wasn't involved in any way. So detectives wondered, who the fuck would call this in? You know?
Somebody that is probably mad at Lacio right now.
To figure out who made the call, they reached out to Lacio in hopes that he could help, identify the person who made the call. So Lacio was brought in and he was played.
The call.
Parts of the call
Okay.
where this John just wasn't making any incriminating statements because they also didn't want to let him know why he was there, right?
Yeah.
So
For protection of the victim
case,
or whatever
of the case. So after listening, they played it for Lacio. They played the parts of the recording or whatever. And after listening to it, Lacio knew exactly who it was.
Oh, shit. Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Pinche drama.
Jasper Witt.
Wait, have you mentioned Jasper?
I have not.
Okay.
So Jasper was another friend of Robert's.
Okay.
Who he also sold weed, I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, he was just selling weed, girl.
No,
he was not doing...
I think he even sold me weed back in 1988.
I think I bought weed from him, too.
Yeah.
Like a little dime, something cute.
The question was, why was Jasper throwing Lacio under the bus?
Or were they friends or something?
They had to have been. Investigators worked quickly to locate Jasper. And when they do, they learned that he was out of state. But they were able to speak to him on the phone. And he admitted that he was this quote-unquote John person that made this call. His reasoning behind calling in this fake tip was that he was concerned that the detectives had stopped looking into the case since it had been over a year and no one had been arrested, and that he wanted to stimulate the investigation.
But, okay, that makes no fucking sense.
Like, I don't know if him and Lacio...
I'm telling you. He probably was sitting down, scratching his ass, and he was like, ¿sabes qué? Today, I feel like
no puedo.
I'm going to call somebody. I feel like fucking with somebody's name. So I'm going to call. You know what I mean? It's like...
But if I was Lacio...
A la 1 de la tarde.
No way. If I was Lacio, if we didn't have beef before, we have beef now. Because
bitch, I'm about to kill you.
Why are you
incriminating me? Yeah, exactly.
In a murder of a friend that was stabbed 18 times, nearly decapitated, set on fire with the speaker put between his private area.
Not only that.
And a pillow over his face.
Not only that, but also I was buying weed from this guy.
No, ¿y yo qué te hice?
¿Yo qué te hice? Exactly. O sea, nada más you just, ¿sabes qué? Let me pull this name out of my ass. That's what I'm saying.
Did he go through his little phone book?
Lacio no tenía nada más que hacer, güey.
No, it was Jasper.
Jasper. No tenía nada que hacer. He's like, ¿sabes qué? Me cayó mal hace un año el pinche de Lacio.
I said hi y no me dio.
Y no me contestó el puto. Yo lo saludé y no me contestó.
And I'm worried about because they're not making any headway in the investigation.
Nobody's finding out who did this. I need to say something.
I need to say something so they can know that they still need to look into this case because somebody needs to.
But he had to bring up this particular name. That's so stupid.
I'll be pissed.
Girl, I'll whoop his ass. Be like, come on, let's go. I'm take your ass outside.
Cash me outside.
How about that?
Now, despite Jasper's belief that investigators had given up on the case, it was far from the truth. They just don't forget about a case,
Absolutely not.
They continue to follow up on all new leads that came in. However, in time, the case went cold.
Well, I mean, it happens.
It would be 17 years after the murder.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it happened like one more year, not 17.
In 2009.
Su puta madre, that's not that long ago.
When a new team of detectives is assigned to the case, that headway is finally made in Robert's murder.
No, but think about it. So it's a 2009.
1988. It happened in 1988.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, they're still thinking about the case. It's not like they're letting it go. Yeah.
Since so much time had passed, DNA testing had only gotten better. That evidence that was collected at the crime scene had been preserved well enough, and it was ready to be tested.
From the blood.
Mm-hmm. So in January, the DNA profile that was created off the blood sample was entered into the National Database for Known Criminals, and there was a match to Paul Smith.
Not Paul Smith.
Yes, Paul Smith from Paul Smith.
Habla bien, pendeja.
Paul Smith from the top of the episode.
So Paul Smith was the one que he was just a loner. And he was a computer tech. Mm-hmm. Y no estaba, según él, no hacía nada.
Nada más compraba weed.
Nada más compraba weed.
Everybody nada más compra weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We bought weed from him.
Yeah, in 1988.
In 1988.
Yeah.
Wasn't even fucking born.
Yeah. I wasn't, but you were.
Shut up.
But you couldn't talk.
No.
So Paul Gentile Smith.
Okay, Gentile.
Grew up with Robert. Again, the two went to the same school growing up and were close friends. Some sources says that they went to elementary, middle school, and high school, but others say that they just went to high school together.
Yeah, because you said they went to school together, pero como quiera, like, still, why would he? Okay, go ahead.
So the two in high school, they had things in common and stuff. Both were athletes, with Paul on the wrestling team. And like I said, Robert was on the football team. And after receiving a wrestling scholarship, Paul went off to college, and the two maintained their friendship. Now, in 2009, Paul's address was in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
So ya no vivía en California.
Ya no vivía en California.
Yeah.
Se mudó.
Investigators learned that, in that time, he had gotten married, was the father of 2 kids, and, worked at a Bible translation company.
Good for him.
He was a Christian man. His parents, ran a Christian group of some sort.
Awesome.
Yeah, good for him.
Okay, good for him.
So Paul had never been on the investigators' radar for Robert's murder, so how does his blood appear in Robert's kitchen? But when they dug deeper, they learned that Paul was not the man that he appeared to be on the surface.
He wasn't a Christian man that was translating Bibles?
After 26 years of marriage, he split from his wife and began dating the woman of his dreams.
Okay.
Her name was Tracy Samkin.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing. Now, I don't know if there have been any overlap between his wife and his now girlfriend, Tracy. Yo
okay.
no sé.
No sabemos si andaba de cheater, pero no pasa nada.
Pasa nada.
Some people make changes and change their mind.
Investigators learned that the relationship between Paul and Tracy was weird.
Okay.
Not like quirky, like, oh, we're quirky weird. No, like weird.
Okay.
Now, there's no shame in having a kink.
No.
We don't kink shame.
You know what? Not here.
Not here.
Not here.
However you want to live your personal life, that's up to you. Whatever,
Yes.
Having your fantasies play out or whatever, as long as there's consent between adults, no problem. And nobody's
Not
getting
even
hurt.
if it's not my problem. Nobody's getting hurt. It's not my problem.
But between adults.
Adults only.
And I'm saying this because Paul enjoyed sex when he could humiliate his partner and also have violence be a part of it.
Okay.
He had his little bag of sex toys that included a loaded gun.
Okay.
Brass knuckles.
I don't think you need that,
Handcuffs.
friend.
Knives.
I don't think you need that, friend.
And
no
ropes.
knives and ropes. No. I mean, I'm just saying. Everybody, to each his own.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
Tracy, an adult, was a willing participant. That was his girlfriend. Yeah, cool and all that. She saw it as, we're just...
That is kind of weird for someone that's translating Bibles, bro. Like,
No, it's not.
I mean, it's a little bit.
You just wouldn't think the two would go together.
Yeah,
but hey,
it's a
people
little
are not what they
off.
seem. But I mean, hey, it's their private life, whatever they want to do.
That's true. You translate Bibles in the day, en la noche andas amarrando gente, whatever.
Puro pinche party.
Yeah, whatever.
Like I said, Tracy was a willing participant and she just saw it as role playing. However, during an instance of this role playing, Paul se pasó de verga.
Obviously.
He took things too far. He took things too far.
Sí.
He tied up Tracy. She was nude, and then he began to stab her.
No, we can't do that. No, ma'am.
In different places of the body.
No, ma'am. No.
And then he dosed her with lighter fluid.
Shut the fuck up. He also had lighter fluid in his bag.
In his little bag.
In his little surprise bag.
Yeah.
¿Cómo se llamaba la magic bag de Barney? Remember he had a magic bag y sacaba shit from there? Así era su magic bag with lighter fluid.
And he said, let the torture begin.
Him stabbing her wasn't torture enough.
So he tried to light her on fire.
Oh,
but was unable to do so because the clicker on, I think, the lighter or something failed.
Okay.
So instead, he grabbed his little loaded gun from this little bag of tricks. And then he fired a shot into the bed of the hotel room that they were in.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Maybe after he shot the gun, he was like, fuck, somebody must have heard that. I need to leave or something because for sure somebody's coming. I'm going to get in trouble. But whatever happened, he fled.
No, porque son tan culos, pues.
Yeah.
Why you fleeing, bitch? You fucking shot the bed. You stabbed this lady. Now you stay here and you suffer the consequences, motherfucker.
Tracy managed to, I guess, get herself untied. And she fled. She got out of the hotel room.
I hope so.
And she went to the Las Vegas Police Department and she pressed charges on Paul and, gave them full details of what had transpired. Mm-hmm. After having learned all of this, one thing that jumped out in particular to investigators back in Orange County, that after essentially torturing her, he tried to burn her alive.
Yeah.
Which reminded them of Paul's murder, right? Yeah. He was essentially tortured and then he was burned. So this happened in 2007 with Paul and Tracy, and Paul was arrested in 2007 for what he did. So he pled guilty to the charges against him and was in jail. And it was then that, obviously when all that happened, that his DNA was entered into the national database.
Okay.
So in 2009, when they, tested,
Reran everything. Yeah. Okay.
His DNA was already in the system. Now, investigators made their way to Las Vegas to pay Paul a visit to where he was serving his sentence. And when asking him questions regarding Robert and Robert's murder, they could tell that he became visibly nervous and, kind of began como que empezó a temblar. Though he was showing signs of discomfort, when confronted with the result of his DNA being at the crime scene, Paul denied any involvement and that he had no idea how it ended up there.
Girl.
He said that as far as he knew, his blood shouldn't have been there.
Because if it was me, that's why I'm not an investigator, because I'd be like, stop lying. Don't lie to me.
Jala la oreja.
Mira, ¿por qué me estás echando mentiras, puto? Like, I would not make it as an investigator. Thank God.
Excuse me. Investigators pressed him. And they were like, hey, whatever you need to get off your chest, you can do that.
Good guy, bad guy, that kind of shit.
You can tell us what happened in Robert's apartment the day of October 24th, 1988. And he said nothing. He literally said nothing happened in the apartment.
No, pero porque, pues, ahorita he's already in jail, so he knows,
And he, again, denied just being in the apartment and fighting with Robert altogether. So detectives actually pulled out the paper, the DNA report. That's it. Look, you see this is you. You see this and this and this is you at the crime scene at this date.
Yeah.
They said.
And there wasn't, and I'm pretty sure they didn't have a little bit of blood. They probably had a lot of blood, to connect them.
No, it was drops.
Well, sí, pero digo, it was enough for them to be like.
It was a full profile.
So, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
So, cuando le sacaron el papelero y todo.
Se cagó el güey.
No. Oh. He remembered.
Oh, es que se le había olvidado.
He remembered that the night before Robert's murder, he had been over at his apartment.
Oh.
And then he said that he had gone to go buy weed from him.
Yeah.
And as, he was cutting some stems, así de la weed that he bought, he cut himself.
Stems of weed.
Something like that.
Bitch.
And that's how his blood ended up in the kitchen. Porque se cortó. He went to go clean his finger.
He just remembered now, though. Mm.
After that, he didn't say anything else. Really, I'm like, that's how my blood ended. You guys wanted to know how my blood ended up at the apartment? That's what happened. Y de ahí ya no dijo nada.
Ya no dijo nada, yeah.
So, investigators decided to end the interview. But they knew that he was their guy, and so they kept an eye on him and monitored his phone calls in the following days, hoping that he'd let something incriminating slip, right?
Bro, I would love to listen to an inmate's phone calls.
Yeah.
For no fucking reason. I'd just be like, for real. Like, I would be horrible. I mean, I would be a good one. I'd be like, but why did you say that? Huh?
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Take notes and stuff.
Take notes, yeah. I would be like, on this date, te dijo esto. Like, that, I would love to do that. Just one time.
A lot of his calls were to Tracy.
Okay. But why is he calling Tracy if she almost killed her?
Yes.
Pero ella lo perdonó. ¿Qué pedo?
Yeah, Tracy and him appeared to still very much in love and together.
Ay, pobrecita.
Yeah.
Pero ya que chingados, ya lo había metido a la cheo.
Ahora lo tenía que esperar.
Ahora lo tenía que esperar.
In one of the calls, Paul tells Tracy that, I'm sure this makes, there's a reason why I'm saying this, right?
Okay.
Yeah, just, Paul tells Tracy that he doesn't know how she still loves him after all that crap.
Okay.
And then she says that she doesn't know either. And it's
so cute.
And then he follows up with, I should have killed you thousands of times. And then he laughs. And then she sort of laughs, like a nervous laugh. And then she's like, you're just kidding about the killing part. And then she's like, you'd never do that. And he said, no. He's like, no, I was glad the clicker didn't work.
Bitch.
And then they left.
No. Absolutely the fuck not. Okay.
Consenting adults.
Yeah.
Paul.
Pero she needs help. Like, she needs to talk to somebody. Like, she needs to read some of the Bibles that he was transcripting. Like, she needs help, bitch. Because if you think that's normal or that's okay,
like,
you need mental help.
If he wanted to tie you up and fine, that's fine, but yeah, when he wants to cut you and then throws lighter fluid on you.
Exactly. And then says that he's sad that the clicker didn't work or the lighter.
I'm glad that the clicker didn't work.
Por eso, she needs to read those Bibles que él andaba transcripting de cuando he was in the Christian church. Porque está cabrón eso,
Paul then steered the conversation in a different direction. Now, I'm not sure if it was during the same call or a different call on a different day, but he ends up asking Tracy to reach out to someone they've used before to start taking care of investigators in the Robert Haugen case.
Okay.
And as in taking out a hit on them.
Okay.
And then, he was on the inside and he needed Tracy to make the negotiations and payments for these hits. Mm-hmm. To which Tracy agreed. She said, okay. And then he's like, I love you, bad baby.
Not bad baby.
And then he laughed. And then he's like, you're my baby.
Ew, that is so fucking cringe. Stop. You're making my armpits itch.
And then she's like, and she sounds like a little schoolgirl. She's like giggling and she's like, oh my God, stop. You're making me hot.
Stop.
I'm sorry. If I had to hear that, you guys had to hear it too. I'm not kidding.
You know what? Yeah. Just go on. Because I'm not going to say nothing because I'm going to be mean and I don't want to be mean.
So.
Eres una pendeja. Eso es lo que eres. Eres una estúpida. That's what you are. You're a fucking idiot.
So the hits obviously were never carried out, right? That they were planning.
Yeah.
Investigators had enough.
So he was planning on putting a hit on the investigators?
The lead investigators.
What the hell's wrong with this idiot? My God. Okay.
Investigators had enough to charge Paul, and he was extradited back to Orange County and charged with the murder of Robert Haugen with special circumstance of torture.
Yeah.
He pleaded not guilty, and his trial began on October 20th of 2010, and it lasted 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Now, defense attorney Corey Mathewson argued that Paul had no motive to kill Robert. They were friends, and the reason for his blood being found at the scene was due to him cutting himself on the scissors of his Swiss Army knife. Statement.
I think I want a Swiss Army knife.
Oh, okay.
Dude, how cool are those? They have everything in there.
Yeah.
You need a knife. You need to stab somebody. You need to cut your weed open. You just use...
You open a box.
You open a box.
And you file your nails.
File your nails. You know, you might
open a wine bottle.
Yeah. You can also use it like to screw something in.
Like a screwdriver.
Fix something. I think I want one.
Yeah. So Paul echoed the same statement when he took the stand. Again, he said that he had gone to Robert's apartment the night prior to buy weed. As he was cleaning some stems. I don't know about weed. That's what they said. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe over there they had the real stuff, because they were close to the border. He said, quote, I was pretty anxious to get high and I wasn't paying attention. And that's when he cut himself. So he said that he walked into the kitchen to wash the blood off his finger, and then Robert gave him a Band-Aid in the bedroom. That's what he said. On the stand, he also admitted to having violent tendencies.
Okay. I mean, he's not saying that he did something to him. He's just saying he's a little violent at times.
No, he said that he had, stabbed his girlfriend. After she had stabbed herself first because she wanted to have matching his and her stab wounds.
Okay.
So,
dude, I don't know how these people keep it straight. Like, how do you not laugh at this stupid ass?
I just wonder how
do you not fucking laugh in his face?
No. How did these people find each other?
No, güey, sí hay. Oh, no. Porque my grandma used to say, cada loco con su tema.
Yeah.
Y they always say que los dos locos siempre se encuentran, güey. They say that. So I'm pretty sure que sí se encuentran.
No, obviamente.
Obviamente.
I mean, come on.
But I'm just like, hey, dude, how are you doing today? Nice to meet you. And I think I've said this before. Hey, nice to meet you.
We've said it plenty of times.
How are you doing
We're probably going to say it more in the future.
Yeah. Oh, how you doing? Good. So do you want to stab me and while we have sex? Oh, no. Well, let me stab you first and then I'll stab you and then we'll stab each other. And then
or do you want to go murder somebody?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, yeah. Actually, you know what? I was just thinking that.
Now, prosecutors argued the opposite. Paul killed Robert, cut himself that day, not the night before, and that's why his blood was in the home. Mm-hmm. According to prosecutors, this is what happened on October 24th of 1988. So Paul arrived at Robert's and Corinne's apartment sometime after she left for work, looking to buy some weed. That part they really believe was the reason why he was over, but Robert refused to sell to him.
Oh.
They had on good authority that Paul's wife was against him smoking weed and had wanted him to stop for some time, especially since they now had a small child.
Oh, okay.
When he said he wasn't going to stop, she asked Robert not to sell him any.
Oh, okay. So Robert was basically just doing what she asked.
Yeah.
Her wish.
Yeah. So when Robert told Paul no, he went into a blind rage because remember, he already had violent tendencies de por sí. God knows que pasó his first wife put up with, quién sabe. And he began to stop Robert while he still had clothing on. For whatever reason, he then took Robert's clothes off and began to stab him some more, cut his throat, and almost decapitated him. He went to the kitchen to try and wash off, clean the knife, and that's when he cut himself, and his droplets of blood ended up in the kitchen. Afterward, he went back to Robert's nude body, grabbed the speaker, and placed it between his legs. Mm-hmm. Now, it is believed that Paul did that in hopes that in some sort of way, it looked like the speaker tipped over and it caused some sort of electrical wire. I'm not sure. He then took a lighter and set the bed on fire as he escaped through the hatch in the closet. He left as if he was never there, taking with him the knife and most likely Robert's weed. And the knife was never found. Now, in the end, a jury found Paul guilty of one felony count of special circumstances with torture and a sentencing enhancement for personal use of a deadly weapon on November 2nd.
Okay.
His sentencing date was set for November 29th, and he was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Okay.
Now, at the sentencing, Paul also pleaded guilty to the additional charges for conspiring with Tracy to have the lead investigator in the case and a witness assaulted.
Oh.
For $300.
Wow. That's stupid.
For this case, he was convicted of one felony count, each of conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, attempted aggravated assault, and 2 felony counts of solicitation to commit aggravated assault. Now, Tracy also pleaded guilty, but earlier in the year in April, but only to one felony count of conspiracy to commit aggravated assault and was sentenced to 240 days in jail and 5 years
Órale, también.
And 5 years of probation.
Órale, también. Let's go, everybody.
Now, while Paul was sentenced to life without parole, his conviction was overturned in 2021 and it was set for a retrial.
What? Why?
We'll get there in a sec. So the day before his retrial, he took a plea deal and pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter.
Okay.
That deal called for a 12-year sentence in addition to the 16 years that he had already served. So he had custody credits that are expected to reduce the remaining time by more than half, meaning that Paul will be released in about 5 years.
What the fuck?
So why did this happen? Why was his conviction overturned? It was due to prosecutorial misconduct.
What?
So prosecutors and sheriff's investigators used jailhouse informants illegally to get incriminating statements from Paul while he was incarcerated and being represented by counsel awaiting trial.
Okay.
They then failed to disclose that information to the defense. So Judge Daniel Goldstein of the Orange County Superior Court presided over the extensive evidentiary hearings examining the misconduct. Afterward, he struck the torture special circumstance, which eliminated life without parole as a possible sentence in any retrial. Judge Goldstein was quoted as saying that this was, quote, a tragic outcome.
Yeah.
He said, quote, it is because of Ward's conduct, I think was the prosecutor, his unethical behavior and engaging in, or the district attorney, and engaging in behavior that may have bordered on the limits of criminal, that I have to do what I really don't want to today. You can thank Mr. Ward for this plea that I'm stuck taking.
Damn. He was like, you blame this motherfucker.
Yeah. And Paul Smith's case was just 1 out of 60 in Orange County that had come apart since 2014 after the discovery of the illegally operated jailhouse informant program.
No fucking way.
And that
imagine all of these people that are just going to be out just because
or like a lesser sentence, just because of the misconduct.
Oh my gosh.
So that is the case of the murder of Robert Haugen.
Wow,
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
And it always amazes me that it's always over nothing.
Nothing. Stupid ass shit, you know? Well, thank you so much for that case, sister. Let us know what you think. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, you can at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to download our episodes, leave us a review and or rate us. We would really appreciate it.
We'll talk to you in the next one.
Bye.